One of the puzzles in understanding these rocks is how the very fine layering formed. We have layers that are rich in quartz, that is silica, alternating with layers that are rich in iron, various iron minerals, on a millimetre scale. And how did that happen? Well, one idea is that each layer represents one season. So maybe there was silica precipitating out of the water all the time, just because the water was saturated with silica and could hold no more silica, and it was precipitating out very, very slowly all the time. And then the season changed and something caused iron to precipitate out of the water. And that would give you silica-rich, iron-rich, silica-rich, iron-rich layers, such as you can see behind me here on a larger scale. That's on the centimetre scale. But if you were to look closely, you would see that that is mimicked at the millimetre scale. So we have some process that caused that alternation of iron-rich and iron-poor layers. And perhaps the simplest way to explain that would be if there were photosynthetic organisms, planktonic floating organisms in the water body that bloomed, that is, they thrived in the hot weather of summer. And during that hot weather, when they were blooming, they released oxygen into the atmosphere and into the water. And that would have precipitated from the water any dissolved iron that was in the ferrous form. It's just the ferrous form that's soluble in water. So one very popular interpretation of that fine-scale layering is that it is seasonal, and it results from the seasonal proliferation of photosynthetic organisms that release oxygen. Now that's a nice idea, but very difficult to demonstrate whether or not it's correct. You'd think that if there were so many microbes living in the water body, then you'd find fossils of their cells in these rocks. But there aren't any. And we've been searching for them for many years, when it really goes back to the early days of the study of these rocks by a man called Alec Trendle and others, who studied thin sections, thin layers of these rocks under the microscope for many years. And Trendle and others like him found nothing. Then I looked, when I was a student, I spent a lot of time looking for microfossils. I found none, and nor did I find any evidence that there were microbes living on the seafloor or the lake floor or whatever it was, forming layers we call mats that might then turn into rocks we call stromatolites. Didn't find anything like that. And it's not just here in Australia. The same sorts of rocks occur in South Africa, and again, there are no fossils in these particular sorts of rocks. So we can have a very nice idea, an hypothesis about what caused the layering, that it was seasonal and caused by oxygen released by photosynthesis, but we don't find any direct evidence of that being correct. We do find one other thing. There is organic matter preserved within the rocks. We call it kerogen. That's degraded probably former cellular material from microbes, and that does have a carbon isotope signature that's consistent with there having been photosynthetic microbes.